Okay, let's jump right in. We're talking about what might just be the single most important sentence ever spoken. It's a statement that literally splits history in two, and it has the power to change absolutely everything about your world. So these are the words that greet the women who show up at Jesus' tomb that first Sunday morning. Just picture it, this is a message from an angel. It's simple, it's direct, and it's completely world-shattering. He has risen. He is not here. Let that sink in. And that's the key right there. This is what we're going to dig into. This isn't just a nice idea or some inspirational quote for a coffee mug. The claim is that this is a historical fact, an event that actually truly happened, with consequences that ripple out into every single part of our lives. So let's start where it all began, at that tomb. What's so amazing is that the Bible, right here in Mark 16, doesn't give us some long, complicated theological lecture. Nope. It gives us something way more powerful. An event, a fact, an empty tomb. I mean, really try to put yourself in that scene. These women, followers of Jesus, are coming to perform a burial custom. They're grieving, they're expecting death. Their entire world has just crumbled, and what do they find? Not a body they need to take care of, but an angel with a message that just flips their entire reality upside down. The absence of a body becomes the single most powerful presence in the universe. So this historical event, this fact, leads us to the main point for today. It's an anchor. Real faith isn't about trying to work up some kind of special feeling. It's about holding on to a specific historical fact, especially when life gets overwhelming. And this comparison here just lays it all out, doesn't it? A faith that's based on your feelings, well, that's like a boat in a storm with no anchor. You're just tossed around by your mood, by your circumstances, by whether you had a good week or a bad one. But a faith based on the fact of the resurrection, that's an anchor dropped deep into history itself. It doesn't budge. It holds you, no matter what storm you're in. And this is where it gets super practical, especially if you're a student. Think about it. When you're drowning in papers, when midterms are crushing you, when you feel totally overwhelmed and God feels like he's a million miles away, you know those moments, right? Well, in those moments, your feelings don't change the facts. The tomb is still empty, Christ is still risen. That is a solid, stabilizing truth you can hold on to in any late-night study session. So, how do we actually live this? Well, here are 4 really practical steps. 1, declare it. Say it out loud to yourself today. He is risen. Treat it like a fact. 2, share it. Just tell one person. 3, reframe your fears. I mean, think about it. If God has the power to raise Jesus from the dead, what problem in your life is actually too big for him? And 4, worship. Not because you're in the mood, but because he is worthy of it. Fact. But here's the thing, this unshakable fact doesn't just give us stability for ourselves. It actually launches us into a mission. The empty tomb isn't the end of the story, it's the starting line. The risen Jesus doesn't just appear to prove he's alive and then, take off. No way. His resurrection is the very fuel for what we call the Great Commission. Because he beat death, because he has all authority, he turns to his followers and gives them a mission. Go and tell everyone. And this, right here, is why your life as a student matters so much. You are not on your campus by accident. Seriously, a risen king who has all the authority in the universe put you right there, in your dorm, in your classes, for this exact moment. And your mission to be a light for him doesn't get put on pause just because a paper is due. In fact, all the stress and searching you see in your friends just makes the news of a living hope that much more urgent. Okay, so here's where the rubber meets the road. How do we move this whole thing from just being information in our heads to something that actually transforms how we live? Let's get really personal for a second. Think about the single biggest pressure you're dealing with right now. Is it an exam? A tough relationship? A spiritual doubt? Now, how does the fact that Jesus conquered death and is alive right now change the way you look at that specific thing? And let's take that one step deeper. What if, just for the rest of today, you decided to operate from the reality that the tomb is empty, instead of from the reality of your to-do list or your worries? How would your actions, your words, your entire attitude actually change? And here's one last piece of encouragement. This mission, this call to live differently, it's not something you have to do on your own. Not at all. The same risen Jesus who sends you also goes with you. You are never, ever alone in this. And so, we end with this. This isn't just about theology. It's a call to action. As you go about your day, who comes to mind? Who in your friend group, in your classes, really needs to hear the hope that flows from an empty tomb? Because when you boil it all down, that's the powerful, simple, and life-changing message. Tell everyone, He is risen.